What up, y'all? Appreciate you showing up, hanging out, listening to my dumb ass. Like and subscribe. So, day 2 happened, I think it was yesterday, but I just heard the audio from, I don't think it was all the Phil Spencer stuff, but it was most of it. And Phil Spencer earns his check. That man was unmoving. He was a steady, straight, strong. He's a leader. Even though he's a gamer and he's a coder, he and Sarah Bond are like the dream team, man. And the most ridiculous thing about this whole thing right now is that Jim Ryan had a pre-recorded segment, whatever it was, a video that he sent in. Look, we all know Jim Ryan's full of shite, right? He lied. He's been lying for. The reason why he didn't want to testify live is because he would be subject to, I will assume, cross-examination. And you know a liar doesn't want to get caught out there with a cross-examiner talking about this, that, and the third. He may be British, but I don't know. His silver tongue may get him in trouble. I'm just like, wow. If it isn't transparent, if it isn't obvious right now that Sony is down bad, that your boy got mosquitoes up in here, that your boy Jim Ryan he's a coward. Let's just call it what it is. Jim Ryan's a coward. He didn't show up. He didn't even do a live Zoom or whatever. Pre-recorded. Probably somebody else wrote it for him. His lawyers probably, because he doesn't care. All he wants to do is make money and stop everybody else from making money. He's definitely anti-competitive. Sony and him being anti-competitive makes Sony, by, the fact that he's the leader, anti-competitive, which is not a good look for you ponies and donkey unicorns, because that's not how you stay number one. I mean, in a dystopian world where criminals rule everything and bad deeds get rewarded, sure. But there's still a part of this planet, this existence that we observe and exist in, that there are good people, good judges, good lawyers, honest people. And I think that's what we're seeing right now. As far as I'm concerned, they have already lost the FTC. The FTC lawyer is trying his best to get Phil Spencer to slip up and say that they wanted to make stuff exclusive before a certain date. And I'm like, what? Huh? What? And Phil was like, I don't know what you're trying to ask me. I don't understand. What are you saying? And it's not like Phil is dumb. Obviously, Phil is super smart. But the lawyer, the FTC lawyer, boy, he tried like 4 or 5 times within a span of a couple of minutes to get him to say yes to something. And I'm like, he already told you that he had many discussions. He had many meetings about exclusivity. And the fact that exclusivity is part of the console business, so it is always being talked about. So if you're gonna, he doesn't recall a specific date in 2021, February 2021 or something like that. And he says he doesn't recall. And look, I can barely remember what happened yesterday. So how can Phil remember 2 years ago, more than 2 years ago, about something they talk about every day? That's the FTC's that's what they're fighting. Oh God. I'm like, how? Well, look, they're lawyers. They probably they probably have scraps to deal with. They look at the case and they're like, we ain't got nothing. Well, what can we make? And this is what they're making out of nothing. This is how it works. And so it's basically like debate club, basically. This is what lawyers do. Before they're lawyers, they go in debate club. Although debate club is a little different now, but and so, I listened to D Batch's kind of run through of the testimony, and he was calling the FTC lawyer rude and aggressive and all these things, and I was like, I mean, that's his job, but I don't think he was that rude. I think he was just he was playing his role. He was doing what he was paid to do, and that is to get Phil and Xbox and the Xbox side to say something to to contradict basically their depositions. And that's what they did. They just, okay, we're gonna go back to page in your deposition, blah blah blah. And then they said, you said this, correct? Like, correct. And then, I mean, everything that the lawyer tried, he missed, he whiffed. He got nothing. He got 0 points. He got minus points because the judge cut him off a couple times. She's like, nah. Look at me. I was like, man, I thought Sarah Bond was good. And she was. Let's not get it twisted. And I think I do like Sarah Bond's demeanor more so. It just makes you feel good. You listen to Sarah Bond, she's like, smacking her teeth. What? I'm Sarah Bond. Sarah Bond. And Phil's just Phil. Phil talks like Phil. He talks long-winded sometimes, but it's all good because, I mean, it's interesting in that these are the court proceedings. It's not interesting in that everything they're saying is obvious. They're like, and what is cloud gaming, and what is it's like simple like answers. I mean, simple questions that we know the answers to as gamers, people who are in the know at least about games. We know most of these answers. Now, he did go into kind of how the deals with Sony as far as Xbox IP into like PlayStation Plus and stuff like that, or into their store, because Xbox has, he said, about 50 games on PlayStation, 50 first-party games on PlayStation. And him saying it, I was like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. I mean, I've never heard it before, like how they do it. I mean, I understand the 70-30, that's always been kind of out there. The one thing that I did learn, I think that was yesterday though, I mean, on the Sarah Bond part, was the 80-20, somebody slipped and said, well, we knew about that leak from Call of Duty wanting 80-20 from Sony, but I did not know that they basically not bribed, but they pressured Microsoft into giving them the same terms, 80-20, because it was 70-30 is the standard. But they're like, nah, if you want to know Xbox Series consoles coming up, 80-20, boy. And Xbox was like, I guess we got to do it. And that sucks. And so that's why I think one of the points that Microsoft is like, buying them will eliminate, kind of that buffoonery. Now, will that term stand with Sony? I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, Xbox could be like, you want it, 80-20, that was the deal, right? Hey, you're not getting exclusive though. I don't think they'll have. I think they'll go back to 70-30, but who knows? And that's given that, that's assuming that Sony's gonna sign the paperwork, which they haven't, which, man, Phil is he's a silver-tongued little guy, but he's not little, but he's a silver-tongued devil boy. He go in there, he was throwing Sony under the bus a couple times, like, yeah, they bought exclusive away, they bought the games, Final Fantasy, they bought it so it's not all placed on Xbox and stuff like that. I mean, he was like, he added some extra, like to the answer. I was like, okay, yeah, that's what you do. And by like the demeanor of the judge, by the demeanor of everyone except for the FTC lawyers, or lawyer, I only heard one of them. Seems like the judge is on Xbox's side, because she seems like she's more accommodating. They're kind of joking a little bit more, so, and she's more frustrated with the FTC guy. And so I'm like, it looks good so far. And so far, FTC hasn't brought anything to the table that's anything worth, and I'm not a real lawyer type. I'm not the courtroom type. I'm like, whatever, just let's get this done. But tangent, Jonathan Majors was in court, I think, recently, about, he got arrested because he was accused of battery, his, I guess, ex-girlfriend or something. Come to find out, see, this is the messed up thing about America. I would say the world, but America. Jonathan Majors, black dude, famous. He's got a super apartment. He's got money, obviously, and he was having an argument with his girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, I believe now. It is, and he was in a car. He was in a car service, and the driver, it was a black car service or whatever. Driver was there. The driver was the witness. They had a fight, not a fight, but an argument, right? Then I think he tried to leave. She pulled him back in. He left, and he left or whatever, right? And so she ended up going to a club after that, right? And she's partying, doing all this stuff, and I guess she got drunk and took some drugs or whatever. Later that night, John Majors and the maintenance guy, because the door was locked, he needed a guy to open the door, found her unconscious in the room, and she was messed. She had like a cut on her hand and a broken finger. She accused him. No, this is what happened. He got arrested because the police kind of accused him of beating her up. And I'm like, that's kind of messed up. And then he's got the body cam of the police officers kind of coaching her, because she said, I don't know what happened to my finger, because she got messed up and she got drunk and she don't know what happened. And it's like so many different things that the maintenance guy is gonna testify, the driver, she was at the club, her hand was fine at the club. It's all this crazy stuff. And she said that they got into the fight in the car. Anyway, that's a super tangent, and it's connected because of the courtroom stuff. And so it's interesting. I'm not gonna be a courtroom junkie, but I'm just saying, little tangent about Jonathan Majors. I think he's gonna be all right. It hasn't been set in stone yet, but hopefully, they get all that cleared up and he can be King the Conqueror for years to come. Anyway, appreciate y'all hanging out. Go in the comments below. Let me know about this whole FTC deal. Jim Ryan's lying, whatever. Phil Spencer's pow bips. The FTC lawyer shenanigans. And also, if you want to chime in on Jonathan Major stuff, it's fine. We could do some off video game stuff, just a little bit. And I mean, if you want to get serious about it, you think about all of the falsely accused people or men, if we're gonna want to keep it on the sexist tip, not even racist, just sexist. It happens. So men out there, brothers from other mothers, be careful. Be careful who you mess with. Be careful who you talk to. Be careful what you do. Always record everything. Well, what can you do? This is the world we live in. We just got to make the best of it and enjoy it while we can. But anyway, I appreciate y'all, and I'll talk to y'all on the next one. Wait.